30. Hi, this is James O'Keefe. I'm captain of the Massachusetts Pirate Party, and I'm joined by, as always, the innumerable Malt.
I'm hungover.
And on that note, we adjourn. No, she's joking. So we're here to we took a week break and for the July 4th holiday, Interdependence Day, as some might say. I rather like it myself. And so we've got a lot to catch up on. But how are things going with you, Malt?
I have no complaints about my personal life. The insurgent from January 6th that brought plastic handcuffs that he intended for the vice president and Nancy Pelosi was released on house arrest, and I am deeply upset because he wanted to say something in his own defense at his sentencing hearing, and the judge and the counsel both discouraged him from doing it. And I know we missed out on some fantastic war garble. Like, oh man.
What was his? Do we know how much his bail was?
Not enough, apparently, because he paid it.
Yeah, apparently. Unlike other folks who have $100,000 bail, if I recall correctly. So things that are coming up that folks should know about. The Massachusetts legislature decided to sell us all out to Hollywood by making the film tax credit permanent. That is, that costs the taxpayer and the state government between $50 and $90 million every year. And indeed, there was the Massachusetts Tax Expenditure Review Commission, which found that that for in the years from 2006 to 2016, we lost a $500 million in tax revenue and gained a mere $500 million in not additional tax revenue, no, in just $500 million of economic activity. And so their recommendation is they strongly disagree, or some would disagree, that the film tax credit in any way benefits, is a benefit to the Commonwealth. But the legislature decided, nah, we're going to make this boondoggle for Hollywood permanent. And they stuck it in the budget. And something like, I don't know, 160 of the 160 state representatives voted for this. Well, you know what I think it is. Go on, sorry.
It's never as efficient to have a tax giveaway than it is to just give people money directly. Like $90 million, if we just gave $90 million to Massachusetts filmmakers, tell me we would not put New York in the toilet where it belongs. Like, there are countries that have like actual financed art departments that will give money to creators so they can create. They don't even have $90 million.
Well, and to top it off, right? So one strength of this is that you have to have expended $50,000 in order to qualify the tax credit. So if you're a person making a low budget film with your friends, or if, for example, you are one of the many teens at community cable, as they have, here in Somerville, where they go and they make their own films, They don't get any of that.
No, it's a giveaway, and it's a giveaway that is being sold to the left under the guise of supporting the arts. And it's not supporting the arts, it's just another money buffet.
Absolutely. And it's a money buffet that gives us a job for each $100,000, which even as a jobs program, it's not really very good. So uh, so one of the things we'd like you to do is Monday morning, call Governor Baker, because Governor Baker has gone on record that he thinks we shouldn't be having this tax credit. His office is at 617-725-4005. Call him at 9 a.m. on Monday and urge him to veto this out of existence. He may get overruled. As I said, 160 of the 160 House representatives voted to give a wet kiss to Hollywood. But if it's not wrapped up in the budget, maybe it'll be harder for them to override his veto. And after all, we just need a third of the legislature plus one or so to stop this from happening.
I mean, it's I think it's only happening because they can cram it into the budget. If they had to argue for this and it's its own independent piece of legislation, it would never pass because it just does not stand on its merits. And I mean, like this summer, Black Panther 2 is filming some scenes at the Worcester Police Department because it is a deeply unsettling brutalist structure. And I'm kind of, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I will hang out around production wearing my malt outfit and just hope I get scouted. But yeah, there's like I say this often, but the best way to create local industry is to create local community. And like if we give $90 million to those local teens, to like student filmmakers, that's going to do so much more than provide a tax rebate for people that are already wealthy. But the right is just so anti-government that they are willing to ignore the blatant inefficiencies because it satisfies this like anti-state madness of theirs.
Oh no, no taxes. Oh. Um, Another thing I'll just recommend is, I just put a list in the chat of our post about this. But, find out who your legislator is and give them a piece of your mind. Call them up and say, this is the worst POS you've ever heard, and they should vote against it. I mean, if there's enough people, hopefully they'll change their tune. But finally, we're looking for pirates because 2/3 of the legislature, odds are, doesn't have a competitor in the general election. So it could be you. You could be that person. Just need to get 150 signatures and ideally spend time going door to door to go and run against them. And this is as good a reason to go run against them as any other.
Speaking of good reasons to run for office, there's a lot of talk in the QAnon community about having people go stealth, like officially deny their QAnon affiliations and run for school committee on an anti-critical race theory ticket because they think that schools are like selling children to molestation factories, just like absolute crazy like reptilian brain nonsense. And like we need people who are not crazy to run for local school board because these teachers need our help.
And kids need to know the truth about their history.
Yeah, like teach the controversy. I'm telling you that that whole philosophy just set us down the wrong ass course. Um, I'm
So
very tired.
yeah, no, me too. So One other thing we have listed is we have all of the people in the House and the Senate who supported this measure, Democrats and Republicans, because that's just the way they roll. The other thing that you should pay attention to, speaking of money, is Monday, our friends at Free the Vaccine are holding a protest outside the German consulate in Boston to urge Germany, who seems to be the only country, if I recall correctly, that is opposing a COVID vaccine TRIPS waiver. For those of you who don't know, the TRIPS allows countries to be able to sidestep patents and be able to start producing vitally needed medicines. And we have a vaccine shortage around the world. We need more vaccines, and we know that Pfizer, Moderna, and all the others are not going to be able to do it, and they're certainly not going to do it at an economical price, not the price that you might see at from India and their pharmaceutical industry. So we need to make sure the vaccine gets out as widely as possible, and Germany shouldn't be the stick in the mud that prevents that. So come out at noon. I'll put a link in the description. I'll put a link in the chat for how you can find out more. Also call up the consulate. Their number, by the way, which is public, is 617-369-4900. Call them up and nicely urge that they support the TRIPS waiver for COVID vaccines, because we need it.
If they don't, they're not getting any more David Hasselhoff. We're going on a Hoff strike, baby.
Are we getting any David Hasselhoff? I don't know. Is he still out there?
I hope so.
Okay.
I think somewhere, he and Knight Rider, they're just driving on an infinitely flat road with vaporwave playing softly in the background.
They did lose Kit, though, if I recall correctly.
Oh no!
Didn't the actor who played Kit died a couple years back?
Well, I don't think cars are ever really alive to begin with, Jamie.
That's true. And they could synthesize the voice, no doubt, or find someone to do it.
Or, let's be honest, it's going to be Siri. It's going to be paid replacement. It's going to be like an Apple car. It's going to be entirely white plastic and burnished metal. It will crash at 80 miles an hour. Just seize up entirely. Your iTunes library file will explode to 1,000 gigs because of a memory leak, and then the car will just hard lock on an interstate. Everyone will die, and then it'll burn for 18 hours because all those lithium electron batteries.
You sure? I think it might be a blaze of glory. The car will sacrifice itself to take out the enemy.
We can only pray.
So what other news do we have there, Malt?
Oh, shit. So the White House announced a quite lengthy executive order seeking to promote competition by cracking down on a lot of the monopolies that have sprung up. And I gotta say, I've browsed it. I don't hate what he's saying. He's specifically talking about letting Medicare negotiate prices, which is something Bernie Sanders has been arguing for decades. So thank you, Senator Sanders. He's also this executive action also talks about increasing access to generics, and cutting down on non-compete clauses for employees, which is good to hear, especially in the tech sector. A lot of folks get hobbled. Usually what happens is, especially if you are a woman or trans or racialized person, is that you will get a cushy job with a very strict non-compete, and you will get drummed out of that job due to the institutional and active racism of your colleagues, and then you'll have nowhere to go because the non compete clause is still active. So, good riddance to non compete clauses.
Yeah, and they've been widely used even outside of tech. I think was it I think a warehouse company, uh, who shall not be named, perhaps begins with A, has used that in the past, as have other like fast food, fast
Yeah,
food restaurants have used it. Like, oh, you can't work for one of our competitors. Like, literally, it's making fast food. There's no trade secrets going on here, folks.
yeah, the secret sauce ain't secret no more. We know it's placenta.
So we looked it over for patents, and it's kind of long on words
Yeah,
and short on actual meaningful things, but we'll see. Certainly, it's better than any other past administrations have done for the last 20 or 30 years.
and like we have to admit, we've got a conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court. If there's any way for them to rat fuck this, we can probably rest assured that they're going to try.
Yeah, I mean, it's an executive order, not something from Congress, but there's still a lot of power that the executive has in terms of setting rules and regulations and things.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, we're on now like almost decade two of situationally mandated one party rule. So the playbook is pretty well established at this point.
right, because we don't really believe in democracy here.
It's tough to govern when a third to a half of your colleagues are like frothing at the mouth violent white nationalists.
And that's just the Democrats.
Oh!
Sorry.
Eat shit, Pelosi.
I was thinking Feinstein myself.
Yeah, they're all
Anyways.
rancid. Oh, the Capitol Police. Here's something I want to talk about.
All right.
The Capitol Police, who were handicapped from the start. I shouldn't have said that. Who were limited from the start by Trump allied motherfuckers in the security apparatus. The Capitol Police are establishing offices outside of Washington, D.C. for the first time ever. I think they're going for Florida and Colorado, specifically to investigate the disproportionate number of threats levied against federal legislators from those regions.
Florida and Colorado.
I think so. Let me double check.
I mean, we know the NYPD has offices in other parts of the world, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, crime is international, they say. But yeah, no, I don't see why NYPD needs offices elsewhere. Isn't that what
San
the FBI
Francisco,
is for?
California, and Florida, specifically San
Okay.
Francisco.
Sam, wait, they got a lot of threats from San Francisco.
That's isn't that Feinstein's district? Or is it
Uh,
Pelosi? Is she
Maybe
from California?
Pelosi, I think. Oh, she's definitely California. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, probably her. So they're probably watching us right now. And I
I
just
see.
want those officers to know I haven't washed my hair in days, and I'm probably not going to.
I would have thought more Orange County would have been a source of threats myself. But okay.
They're all too rich. They hire the people in San Francisco to send the threats for them.
Very good. All right. Any other news?
Oh, if anyone here is in the Worcester area, the there's a contest to get your poems written on the sidewalk in rain-resistant chalk, such that they're only visible when the sidewalk is wet. So I think it's something like 30 lines or less. It's up on the city government website. So get your stuff out there, writers.
And we will put a link in the description for that. Wow, I didn't realize they had rain-resistant chalk.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just like a clear coat, or not chalk, paint.
Oh,
I'm
paint.
tired.
I was thinking chalk and thinking, what are the environmental effects of that?
Yeah. Art Underfoot, Worcester County Poetry Association seeking poets for a walk in the woo, which is quite the name.
Do you want to shoot me over that or send me
I
over
will.
that? Thank you very much. I will put that in the chat.
Splendidly.
All right, folks. We thank you very much for listening to us. Again, please go and call Baker tomorrow. You can reach him at, you can reach his office at 617-725-4005. And if you're in the Boston area tomorrow at noon, please go over and support Free the Vaccine in their efforts to protest outside of the German consulate. That is at 3 Copley Place, Suite 500, Boston, Massachusetts, 02116. And the consulate's number, again, call them nicely, is 617-369-4900. You can, of course, find us at masspirates.org. There are lots of things going on. We just updated some of our party platform, and we're continuing to do that. And we've got some events coming up as well. This wow, time is moving on. This Saturday from 11 to 1, we have our tech meeting. And the following week, following Saturday, we have our monthly Pirate Moot, or community meeting from 4 to 6 p.m. All of those are online. So for those of you who are in Worcester, you can go and check out, as Malt said, I put a link in the chat of the Worcester Poetry Contest, right?
Yeah, the Worcester County Poetry Association.
Excellent.
I've also got these dice that look like raw meat. They're supposed to be antiqued. To me, they look like the Titans from Attack on Titan.
That they do. They really kind of do. That's scary.
Yep.
All right, and thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, click that bell, tell your friends, and as always, leave us a comment either at our blog, masspirates.org, in the chat here. All right, thanks, folks. Take care. Have a wonderful week.
And don't talk to cops. Ah! You got me.